cedar crust in the freezer.
And you thought those were for you?
Well, yeah, I did.
Because you're the only one who likes cedar crust ice cream?
No, Arlo likes it too.
Yes, I do.
And I know how much you love your kids' milk. Almost as much as your kids love cedar crust.
Well, you're right. But don't eat all of them. Your dad and I like cedar crust too. Grab one for each of us.
Cedar Crust ice cream sandwiches, available in vanilla and black cherry.
Dear baseball fans, Toyota's 2024 lineup is a grand slam. Leading off, the RAV4, a utility player that's not afraid to get dirty. On deck, the roomy Highlander, followed by the fuel-efficient Corolla. Next up is our Slugger, the rugged new Tacoma. And rounding out the order, the stylish Camry. For more, visit Toyota.com or your local Toyota dealership. Toyota, let's go places.
Covering the Crew all season long on WTMJ, it's Brewers Extra Innings. Now live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee at the Avenue. Here is your host, Dominic Cotroneo.
You know, they had him, and they just lost it. Just barely. Tough one. Real close game. No, not quite. Brewers fall in this one to the Tigers. They do not get the sweep today. Final score 10-2. A couple of runs late helped avoid the shutout for the Brewers. I mean, how the Riley Green day, he robbed a home run and he made a diving catch, and then later Veerling robbed the home run. I mean, that's 5 runs right there. But that's the way baseball goes sometimes. I'm Dominic Cotroneo, flying solo here on this Sunday. It's going to be a shorter Brewers Extra Innings here today. 855-616-1620, though. 855-616-1620 is the phone number. If you want to join us here, you can call in or you can text in. So let's just start with a couple of the positives, because there's plenty to talk about on the negative side today, and we'll get to all that as well. On the positive side of things for the Brewers, they still had won the series, and there were still moments in this game that I could see as like, all right, there's some development happening here. Churio actually had a couple of really good at-bats today, despite only going 1 for 4, and we mentioned Riley Green's diving catch. He got robbed there in what turned out to be the fateful 5th inning. Willie Adames snapped his hitless streak. He reached base twice, a single and a walk, and then when the game got blown out, he got pulled to get him off of his legs and give him a little bit of a breather. The other thing that I liked about today's game is we got to see Kevin Herget once again throw well for the Brewers. Another inning, just keep stacking up good outings, and this is kind of how it happened for Jared Koenig, where all of a sudden you blink and, oh, wait a minute, he's pitching important innings, and he's optionable, so the Brewers can continue to build some trust with Kevin Herget, given that changeup looked really darn good today. But obviously a lot of this show is going to be a little bit of the negative. We'll talk about today's game for these next 2 segments, and we'll kind of start shifting gears into what's ahead for the Brewers, and then we'll hear from Murph. No highlights today, of course, as well, and get ready to prepare for the Toronto Blue Jays. But the starting pitching is going to continue to be the topic for the Brewers as they're in this middle third of the season, right? The first third of the season was all about the offense and how great they've been and how dynamic they've been and how it's somebody from everybody, every given night, somebody different, it seems like, has been able to get the job done. Whereas now the starting pitching is starting to wobble a little bit, and this is what a lot of people were fearing. And look, when you're 11, 12 deep in your starting rotation, no one's this deep in June. Nobody. Not a single team. No one prepares literally to replace your entire starting rotation, more than once, essentially. That's what you're doing right now. And Bryce Wilson, I know the Brewers started him a lot in spring training, but they didn't envision him facing a lineup a third time like he had to today. And we didn't envision him walking as many guys and struggling with 2 strikes like he did today. And this is what I think the concerns are always been valid. It's like, look, it's nice to have Bryce Wilson available to you in what he's able to do in eating innings, and I've always said innings are currency. But now, very quietly, over his last handful of outings, he's slowly turned maybe toward the mean a little bit of the reason why Pittsburgh had let him walk. So over his last 3 starts, it hasn't been so pretty. I should say last 3 appearances, since one of those was following an opener. Since he had that great one against the Red Sox, remember, a couple of weekends ago, over his last 3 outings, he's 0-2, 14 innings, 18 hits, 14 runs, 4 runs against the Cubs, 3 runs against the Phillies, 7 runs against the Tigers. Now, you may be saying, Dom, 3 runs against the Phillies, that's not terrible. You're absolutely right about that. 4 runs against the Cubs, it adds up when you're not getting length. Only going 4 innings in that game against the Cubs, getting 4 runs. Today, 7 runs against an offense that's kind of middle of the pack, not super impressive, and did not have the command with the corners like we're normally used to from Bryce Wilson. But it's a reminder, he was not intended to be a fixture in the rotation. Maybe a piggyback type guy with a Jacob Junis or that sort of thing, but the fact that they've relied on this many innings out of Bryce Wilson to this point in the season, right? So he's already at 58 innings right now this season, including today's start. Last season, he threw 76. So he's less than essentially 3 starts away from surpassing last year's inning total. And when he was a starter in Pittsburgh in 2022, he threw 115 innings. So he's kind of getting near a glass ceiling, if you will, of, hey, he hasn't thrown this many innings in a while. That's just something I'm going to monitor with Bryce. Now, as they get healthy, it's going to get easier to get innings, but let's also look in the mirror here for a second. DL Hall, before the injury, wasn't off to an inspiring start. And you're telling me he's going to be pitching through injury. You know, there's clearly a little bit of discomfort still in that knee, so he has to deal with that on top of the fact he was giving up so much contact in his first 4 starts as a Brewer. 27 hits in his first 16 innings as a Brewer. That's not super inspiring and not much length out of him either. So you're looking to guys like Freddie, who didn't get the job done yesterday. You're looking to guys like Joe Ross, who is now going to end up missing almost a month with his back issue. And Jacob Junis, who does not have a reputation of giving length to get length. So the Brewers are going to have to get really creative here, or Matt Arnold's going to have to pick up the phone. Because this middle third of the season is going to be defined by the length that the starting pitching staff can give them. And not getting out of the 5th today, not getting out of the 4th yesterday, just ain't going to cut it. They are not going to survive July if this keeps going. I know you feel good being in first place by, 6 games right now? I don't care about the standings in the beginning of June. Talk to me in July, then it gets real. Because the Brewers, I know they're deep in the barrel right now, trying to figure out what they have available to them. But yet, it can't keep going like this. It really can't. It's going to catch up to them. Maybe we're starting to see it catch up. A few texts agree with that as well. 855-616-1620. Again, 855-616-1620. Got the series win. We lost badly today, but I think it was preferable to losing a tight one and burning through too many bullpen arms. It's a good spot as well. Biggest positive, though, it was great seeing Churio make that play in right on a dangerous pop fly and keeping us from getting shut out by a knock and then getting home. Tom from South Dakota with that text as well. He has been making his case lately to not get sent back to Nashville. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the program, too. Josh in Milwaukee, not too worried about taking some lumps on the road trip. The Brewers did go 2-4 on this trip. But I do have some concerns about the starting pitching at this point. Talk about Peralta's outing yesterday, and it was a similar story for Wilson today. It's obvious it's not sustainable, but what can the Brewers feasibly do about this? Pick up the phone, truly. You know what this team needs. It's starting pitching, but they're not the only ones that need it. Brian and Tosa, not surprised about the offense being shut down, facing probably the best left-hander in the American League. Not probably, might be the best left-hander in baseball. More concerned about the 5th inning meltdown by our pitching staff. It's June, and I think the lack of starters past the 5th is starting to put stress. I agree entirely. Hobie wasn't himself, but that game was already teetering on its edge and then really blew open very quickly. And then Doug picked the right day to rest Contreras. He wouldn't have helped much, but I'll take 2 out of 3 against the righties. Take our breather, come back with more after this. Brewers fall 10-2 to the Tigers on 620 WTMJ.
Coming up, more Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
The Vinny table at Penny Mustard reminds me of April.
The month?
April was a girl in my 2nd grade class with perfect bangs who everyone adored.
How does the Vinny table remind you of April?
Because it's all anyone talks about.
Ah.
I just feel bad for all the other tables because they're beautiful too.
Maybe they just need bangs.
Hey.
Come see the Vinny and Violet Dining Room, starting at $63.92 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Many people with unique homes reach out to Pella because our team of experts can customize windows and doors that match architecture from any era.
I love that I have a home that's 100 years old. It's a historic district, and we didn't want to ruin the look by having modern windows in an older home. When I found out that Pella had an architecturally accurate product line, they simply guided us and helped us to make a great decision for our home.
Order today and get 0% interest for up to 48 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Certain restrictions apply at 6/30/2024.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. The world's greatest aviation celebration is approaching fast, and tickets are on sale now. EAA AirVenture Oshkosh returns July 22nd through the 28th. Explore the world of flight, from spectacular aerobatics in the daily air shows to the latest aviation tech. There's no better gathering of people and airplanes than at AirVenture. And youth 18 and under are always free, supported in part by the Boeing Company. For more information or to buy your tickets now, go to eaa.org/tickets. But hurry, early bird pricing ends on June 15th.
This is Brewers Extra Innings.
Brewers Extra Innings is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank. With the local Milwaukee team, Fifth Third Bank also knows how to hit it out of the park. They've been serving businesses in the area for nearly 15 years, offering industry-specific expertise and local decision-making capabilities to help your business succeed. It's commercial banking value that only Fifth Third can deliver. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, member FDIC. I'm Dominic Cotroneo. Flying solo today, 855-616-1620, 855-616-1620. We're going till 4:30 this evening here on WTMJ. I'm looking at the box score. Not much to jump out here as far as great performances. Nobody had multiple hits today. You know, if you look at the run differential of this series, you may think, wow, it was a highly contested series, right? Brewers only won the series by 2 runs. 10-0 on Friday, Brewers win. Win yesterday 5-4 by 1, so plus 11. Today you lose by 8. So, plus 3, rather. So, oh well. Hang with them. No big deal. I'm not concerned about getting swept by the Phillies. I love the bounce back that we saw these last 3 days against the Tigers. And it's not out of the woods yet. I know Toronto's in last place in their division, but they're still near a 500 team. They're coming from beating up on the Oakland A's this week. They shut them out yesterday behind Kevin Gausman. Right now, taking a peek at the out-of-town scoreboard, the Blue Jays, where's their score? Up 2-0 in the bottom of the third in Oakland right now. So they'll be coming in trying to stave off all the trade rumors that they're dealing with right now to see if they're going to be able to try to make a run at the AL wildcard. But also, I just want to sit here for a moment, tip my cap to Tarek Skubal. Man, that was some really impressive stuff, but also rant for a moment. 6 2/3. 5 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and 10 strikeouts. He threw a total of 95 pitches, 65 for strikes. He was dominant. He was fantastic. He was exactly as advertised. But here's my rant. I think A.J. Hinch is a very good manager. I think baseball has a problem when their smart managers make dumb decisions like the one we saw today. I'm sorry, he already blew the shutout. Okay, with the late single in the 7th inning. Okay, I know he's facing a lineup of 4th time through and he's at 95 pitches. If we're going to sit here as a baseball fandom and complain about pitchers not going long enough, and like, oh, no one's tough enough to go 7, you got to look at the culprit here, man. If you can't let Tarek Skubal go back out, like, with all due respect to Joey Ortiz looked human for the first time this season today. He had struck out Ortiz 3 times. He's facing him for a 4th time. Yeah, he's already given up the shutout. No big deal. Man on third, 2 outs. You want to make a pitching change there when you're up 10-1 at the time? What are we doing? What happened to the sport I love? Let him finish it. And also, like, I wanted to see Skubal give like the Mike Mussina stare at A.J. Hinch, the no, like, don't take me out kind of thing. But it's just like these guys know they're getting pulled. It just really frustrates me because we could have seen a really good stat line. It's still a good stat line from Skubal, but I think everybody wants to see 7. You know, a lot of starters want to see 7, but you can't ask him to get 7 if he's never given the opportunity to. 95's fine. 95's not a terrible pitch count. It's not like the game was in jeopardy. He's still having a confident outing, but he hasn't thrown more than 96 pitches all season. So when the moment comes, maybe later this year, if they get on a hot stretch, and you're deciding what do you want to do with Skubal, or do you want to send him back out for the 7th or go to the bullpen if it's a dominant game, he doesn't know how to do it now. This would have been an opportunity to do it. So when you have an elite starter like that, you got to let it ride. You've got a horse. You've got a race horse. Somebody that can win a Triple Crown right there. Let him go. Just a little rant there. That's all. Nothing crazy. Just let him do it. Otherwise, the Brewers pitching staff today wasn't their day, obviously, with Bryce Wilson. But when we talk about picking up the phone and the starting rotation for the Brewers side of things, looking ahead, tomorrow you're going to have Colin Ray on the mound, and then the worst-kept secret of a TBD, Carlos Rodriguez is expected to make his big league debut on Tuesday, one of the top pitching prospects for the Brewers, a young right-hander from Nicaragua. And then Tobias Myers on Wednesday will go against Chris Bassett. I mean, you're going with an experienced veteran with Ray, who's been all over the map, rookie. Two guys that were added to the 40-man to pitch in big league games as a starter. Now, Tobias coming off his best start of his career, professional career, maybe his whole life. 8 shutout innings against the Tigers on Friday. Excited to see what we can do with that. But you're asking a lot. And then you get the off day on Thursday. I would imagine Freddie would go again on Friday against the Reds at home. So you have to decide to yourself, okay, need length out of him coming off an off day with the extra day off. And then if Junis is coming back maybe next weekend or the following week out west, because he threw 50-some pitches in his rehab outing yesterday, he's not going to give you length. So how do you plan it out to have maybe Bryce Wilson and Junis tandem together and figure out, okay, can you get a way to find 6 innings out of those guys, right? 3 from Junis and 3 from Wilson, or when DL Hall returns and works his way back up, 3 from Hall, 3 from Junis, or whatever it may be. The Brewers are going to start getting very creative with their starting rotation, and maybe the only guys that we see are traditional starters, that's with air quotes, are going to be Freddie Peralta and Colin Ray. And until we know for sure what Robert Gasser's diagnosis is, that's also going to impact the starting rotation and how quickly you need. Because let's go to the nightmare scenario here where Gasser needs a major surgery, and this is speculating. A flexor strain is never a good sign. But let's say Gasser needs a major surgery. We're in June. Okay, an internal brace, a Tommy John, or whatever it may be. Like that, it could be a year-long rehab, which means you need somebody to start the year next year, and you still need to make sure he comes back healthy. By the time, let's say, he gets back healthy, would be like August, July of next year. So it's like, okay, you might need somebody there too. So that's why I'm looking at this trade market and like, hey, man, there's a lot of multi-year starters available. It's going to cost a pretty penny, but that's what starting pitching is. It costs money. It costs prospects. It costs capital. So these are decisions that the Brewers might have to swallow the pill and just say, you know what? Do it. Go get Crochet. Go get Luzardo. Figure out what you can do with 2 years of control with those guys, because you got Woodruff coming back next year, maybe a new-look Aaron Ashby. Hopefully Mizorowski can continue to develop, or maybe he's in the trade package. All of this is on the table right now for the Brewers because, quite frankly, as great as they've played to this point in the year, if this is the rotation they're rolling into after the trade deadline, that's not going to be pretty. That's tough. That's going to be really tough. A lot of guys are going to blow past career highs in innings pitched. You're going to have a ton of different starters, just things that we're monitoring right now for the Crew. They fall today 10-2 to the Tigers. We'll take a look around the out-of-town scoreboard coming up next and how it pertains to the Crew. Hear from Pat Murphy a little bit later as well. We're going to the bottom of the hour, 4:30, right here on your home of the Brewers, 620 WTMJ.
On deck, more Brewers Extra Innings.
There's a reason people sold to Grandview Homes instead of using a real estate agent.
Very fair price. No real estate agent fees or closing costs.
Within weeks, we had closed and couldn't be happier.
Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
There's an amazing supper club in Wisconsin Dells, Ish Nala. Nestled among the pines and perched above the sandstone bluffs of Mirror Lake. The beauty, the history, the service, the food, the fun. Hi, this is Bob Prosser, owner of Ishnala Supper Club in Wisconsin Dells. I've been a part of Ishnala since 1973, and I am so proud to continue the tradition that began in 1953. Why not enjoy a brandy old-fashioned in one of our bars, each with a spectacular view overlooking Mirror Lake, or just relax before or after dinner on one of our outdoor decks. Our Ishnala chefs have prepared your favorites: 24-ounce ribeye, cold water lobster tails, North Atlantic salmon, and of course, Ishnala's roast duck. Thank you for making Ishnala Wisconsin's favorite supper club, where the only thing we overlook is Mirror Lake. I'm Bob Prosser, and I want to serve you.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes senior living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from Three Pillars resident Lola.
When I was new, I come in and sit down, and people join me. And you get to know people, talk about feeling welcome. Art class is first early in the morning. Right now, I'm also involved in being a production assistant with a theater group. Every month, they have a supper club with a different theme. First one that I went to, they had a luau. I am so lucky to have ended up in this place, and I think it's one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Welcome back to Brewers Extra Innings.
Welcome back. I'm Dom Cotroneo. Not a fun one today. Brewers fall 10-2, but they still won the series, so it's A-OK. Brewers Extra Innings is brought to you in part by Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. Trust in your family's comfort at home with Cider. And right now, if your AC unit's more than 10 years old, through June 15th, Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical can save you $1,500 on a brand new unit. You can visit cider.com to schedule an appointment today. That's SEIDER.com. 855-616-1620 if you want to join us here on the program today. Quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard here. Games that have already gone final. The Reds could not finish off the four-game sweep against the Cubs. 4-2, the Cubs win today. They are both identical, 32 and 34 records. The Cardinals split with the Rockies over the weekend in a four-game set. They win today by a 5-1 score. So still, the Brewers are the only team above 500 in the division at 38 and 27, 11 games over 500. And the Pirates are going to lose at home here today. 11-5 right now in the bottom of the 10th inning against Minnesota. The Twins just hung a 7 spot on the board in the top of the 10th inning in a game that was started by Jared Jones. So they're going to fall to 31 and 34. You get what I'm saying here about the rest of the Central. Elsewhere, the London series, it ends up in a split chaos game for the Mets and the Phillies. 3 runs in the top of the 9th inning for the Mets with a bases loaded hit by pitch, a pass ball. It was then the bases loaded walk in the bottom of the 9th. It was wild, and a double play ended the game. But Mets and Phillies split the London series, and the Phillies will come back stateside to take on the Red Sox, whereas the Mets will be coming back home, taking a peek at their schedule here after the off day tomorrow. They will be going home for the Miami Marlins. Elsewhere, the Nationals just won the series over the Braves, 8-5. The Braves continue to try to figure out what they are without Ronald Acuna Jr. They're 35 and 28, only 7 games above 500. But the good news to them is that the rest of the National League kind of stinks. That their wild card standing is not impacted in the slightest. That they are still 3.5 games clear of San Diego, as Atlanta is in the top spot. Atlanta's lost 3 games in a row. That's a sweep, I beg your pardon. Oh, no, that was a 4-game set, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, Brewers don't see the Braves until after the All-Star break. Cleveland beat the Marlins 6-3. Cleveland continues to be a fun story over in the American League. Baltimore beat Tampa Bay 9-2. And some games in action out west right now. Astros up on the Angels 3-1 in the bottom of the third. Already mentioned the Blue Jays leading the A's. Red Sox and White Sox are tied in the Laundry Series, 4-4 in the top of the 9th inning, as the Red Sox just tied things in the top of the 9th inning. Blown save for Tanner Banks, Reese McGuire, a sacrifice fly to tie things up in that one as the White Sox are trying to win the series. The Mariners are trying to salvage the finale against the Royals. They just scored 3 in the top of the 10th. It's now 6-3 over Kansas City in that one. Take a break, come back with some more thoughts about the Brewers' upcoming schedule and some other things to monitor with the injuries and the roster for the Brewers as they fall 10-2 to the Tigers today here on 620 WTMJ.
Coming up, more Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here for Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. Their mission is to transform the culture of care. We're all living longer. That means in all of our families, people are facing Alzheimer's, dementia, and other memory-related issues. Azura specializes in caring for those with early to late stage Alzheimer's or other related dementia symptoms. They're Wisconsin-based, 14 in our state, 4 in our area. I've been in their buildings. They're fantastic. It's Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, empathy and compassion at the core. It's Azura.
Gear up for more Brewers action when the crew takes on the Reds June 14th through the 16th. Plus, get a Sal Frelick bobblehead on Saturday the 15th. Find your spot at brewers.com/tickets.
3.5 to 3.9% real estate commission. You can't find a lower rate of commission, and you won't be able to find better knowledge, service, and real estate expertise than you'll find with our agents at Benefit Realty. Because I know that's what you expect. Now, I'm not sure you'll be able to find the highest caliber of agents everywhere, but I can promise that's what you'll get here. So choose Benefit Realty to exceed your expectations, and you'll pay less for more. This is Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where you pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com. Whether you're an active or passively active home shopper, our agents want you to be completely up to date with what's out there and what's brand new to the market. With our instant emailed MLS updates, you'll never miss out on what could be the home of your dreams. All you have to do is call and tell us where to search, give us a price range, and soon you'll be totally in tune with your desired real estate market. Remember, MLS searches show you everything. Some of the other real estate sites don't. So call Benefit Realty today, where you'll pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com.
John Mercure here with Ann Peplinski, who tells me Sidex Window Siding and Baths turned her nightmare bathroom into a gem.
It looks beautiful. My bathroom was the ugliest bathroom ever. They did a very good job in 2 days, and I still can't believe it.
Sidex, out with the old, in with the new.
It is such a good feeling.
Get in touch with my guys at Sidex, S-I-D-E-X, Sidex, SidexRemodel.com. It's Sidex.
This is Brewers Extra Innings.
Nothing to write home about today. Brewers fall 10-2 over the Tigers. To the Tigers, I should say. I'm Dom Cotroneo. So they come back home, 7-day homestand, 6 games. 3 with the Toronto Blue Jays and 3 with the Cincinnati Reds. Brewers haven't seen the Reds for a little bit here. Brewers last saw them in April. Brewers took 2 out of 3 in a rain-shortened series. There will be a doubleheader in August in Cincinnati. Brewers won that series in a game that was started by Aaron Ashby. They almost came back from down 8 runs, 10-8. They won a game 9-5, and they won a game 7-2. That doubleheader will come August 30th on a Friday in 2.5 months' time or so for that one, 4 games in 3 days. That also makes it a really tough stretch for the Brewers because they will have an off day on that week's Monday, so they will play 8 games in 7 days of that week, but then they won't have another off day until the next Thursday, so they will play 14 games in 13 days when arms are hanging and trying to figure out what's going on. However, the Reds are hot right now, and I said it on my Brewers Weekly show on Thursday. Do not lose sight of how good the Reds are getting. And yes, they lose their winning streak today. They had won 7 in a row coming into today. But again, they still are the only other team in the division with a positive run differential. And they're not going to get worse when Noelvi Marte comes off of suspension and when Christian Encarnacion Strand gets his hand healed up. TJ Friedl hit another home run today. They are going to get better. They have reinforcements on the way. The concern with them has always been the pitching, and it's always tough to do, of course, in their ballpark. And they're a team that drastically goes as their star shortstop, Ellie De La Cruz, goes. You know, I'm pulling up his Baseball Reference right now. He leads baseball in stolen bases. You know, we've joked that maybe he can steal 100 bases this year. Well, he's already at 34 right now, leading all of baseball. But here's a mind-blowing stat about him. Despite only hitting .238 on the season with a .759 OPS, right? It's relatively league average numbers for a guy that's so electric. In wins, he's hitting nearly .300, on base nearly .400, slugging .550. In losses, he's hitting .177 with an OPS barely over .560. He's slugging .300 in losses. He goes as the Reds go. He is the one that is in charge of how they do. And last year, the Brewers really solved him later in the season and in the second half really understanding what was making him tick. In the first half, he hit .325 in those first 30 games. In his last 68, he hit .191. And overall against the Brewers, he did not fare well. Aside from stealing home, that viral clip that we all saw, everyone was a little embarrassed by that. The Brewers held him to a .162 average in just one home run last season, the one that left the ballpark when the stadium Jumbotron was trolling him. He went 6 for 37 last year against the Brewers with 13 strikeouts. Keep him in check, and the Brewers will have a chance against the Reds this week. That is the major key, making sure you can survive against him. But once you get past the Reds this week, they go back on the road for a West Coast trip. And this is going to be a really important trip because you're facing the Angels, who aren't good. The Brewers should be able to handle the Angels. But then you get San Diego in a 4-game set. San Diego's been playing better baseball as of late. When you saw San Diego here in Milwaukee, they did not have Luis Arraez yet. And Jackson Merrill was just getting going. Joe Musgrove was still available, but he's now hurt. And they're starting to hit their stride a little bit. But now Xander Bogaerts is hurt for a long time for them. So if you can find a way to split that series, that could be a successful road trip. Then you come back home for another supercharged series with the Rangers, the defending world champions, who could have Max Scherzer back by then, and then the Cubs, and you'll see Craig Counsell once again. And then another West Coast trip, and this is the important one. Don't fall asleep for a 4-game 4th of July set against the Rockies, and then you get the tall task with the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is an interesting rest of the next month or so, all the way through the 4th of July. The Brewers only face 2 series of these next 8-9 against their own division, being Cincinnati and Chicago. And then they come back home for Pittsburgh and Washington at the end of the first half. So the Brewers looking ahead here with 2 West Coast trips. They have no more 3-city trips. They get a few more off days here between now and the All-Star break. They have another one on Thursday. Getting healthy matters, and Junis maybe being available on that West Coast trip, the first one to L.A., to Anaheim, I should say, matters. Garrett Mitchell potentially coming back. Garrett Mitchell is going to start playing in minor league rehab games on Tuesday. He essentially needs to restart his spring training. I would expect something like 20 to 30, maybe even more plate appearances for him on his way back. That sounds like maybe 6, 7, 8 games for him before we even think about moving him back up to the big leagues and making sure he's performing and feeling well, and then hopefully that West Coast trip is eyed for him. And mention I want to talk about Jackson Chourio. I've said it a few times already on the program. When you think about Jackson, and we had a sit-down with the media and Mark Atanasio and Matt Arnold and Rick Schlesinger that asked about Chourio and what you've seen from him after giving him the money and everything like that. And they were just very interesting. Matt Arnold said, look, he's proven all he can prove it in the minor leagues. Might as well let him fail in the big leagues. Because there's 2 schools of thought here, right? I see all the comments saying, send him down to AAA if he's not going to play every day. Let him learn in AAA. What's he going to learn in AAA? Seriously. It's worse pitching, not as much velocity. It's a level that he's already conquered. Whereas he can learn how to be a big leaguer, get used to the travel, get used to the playing every day, or at least observing and learning in big league ballparks. I think it's still very valuable for Chourio to be an extra man, and maybe him and Frelick become a platoon out in right field for the rest of the year. But I think it's more beneficial for Chourio to play 3 times a week in the big leagues than it is for him to, hit 280 in AAA. What's that going to do him? Confidence? I mean, he's a big leaguer. That doesn't make you feel good down in AAA, honestly, when you've already got a taste of the big leagues and you had that caviar already on your palate. You want to stay in the big leagues as long as you can. I think the Brewers believe that's the best way for him to develop as well. I mean, if it wasn't for a Riley Green diving catch, we're talking about another clutch 2-out runner and scoring position opportunity for Jackson Chourio. He barreled up a ball. He had a great count. He worked hard against the leader in the Cy Young for the American League. These are signs. He's 20 years old. I think it makes sense to leave him up here. Yeah, you might be hamstrung in your versatility. A quiet thing about today's game is that Andre Monasterio looks serviceable at first base. That's significant. That's another guy that you can keep around as a utility player. Just something to monitor. I'm not saying he's going to get a lot of starts at first base, but Reese is going to get the majority of starts at first. And there's going to be a roster crunch when Garrett Mitchell comes back. A decision will have to be made. So these are the things that I'm monitoring. Take a break, come back. We'll hear from the manager, Pat Murphy, after this on 620 WTMJ.
On deck, more Brewers Extra Innings.
Yard work, playing with the kids, getting back out on the boat. Things that should be enjoyable, not painful. Vince Vetrano for Connect Chiropractic, where I've been seeing Dr. Alex Young and his team for nearly a year. My neck, back, and shoulder feeling so much better. It's not just that. Did you know regular chiropractic care can help with sciatica, vertigo, great for athletes, and all without twisting, cracking, or popping? Connect Chiro Docs use a special tool for all the adjustments so there's no discomfort. Learn more or book your first appointment now at Go Connect Chiro. That's GoConnectChiro.com.
With a local Milwaukee team, Fifth Third Bank knows what success looks like. They've been serving businesses and individuals in the area for nearly 15 years, including a long-standing commitment to the healthcare industry. From expansion to treasury management, Fifth Third offers a full suite of financial services and solutions across the healthcare spectrum to meet the complex moments you're navigating. Fifth Third Bank, National Association. Custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
When you come to our showroom, you'll find more than a dozen glass shower door displays. Now that's what you're going to want to see, because browsing a bunch of options usually spurs ideas that you've never even thought of. And when you walk around with one of our glass shower door experts, you can ask questions and get assurance. We're here to help. And after nearly 50 years in the glass shower door business, there's not a whole lot we haven't seen. So don't worry, your project's about to be put in the very best of hands. At Les's Glass Service, you can count on our experience that makes it easy to promise top-flight installation. Glass shower doors are our specialty, and we're out there humping it every day to add to our portfolio to make the next project even better than the last. This is Stacy Sinks. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Les's Glass. Les's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lesglassservice.com.
This is Brewers Extra Innings.
All right, it's a loss. Pat Murphy always finds a way to make things entertaining and breaking down the game. Hear from the manager after a 10-2 defeat to the Tigers on getaway day back home. Here's Murph.
I mean, I think his stuff was the best I've seen. I mean, that was electric stuff with life. His changeup was hard to recognize, obviously, and but his fastball was really, really good. That kid seems like a young. How old a kid is he?
27.
Oh, is he that old?
He's been around for like 4 years or so.
Has he?
Yeah.
Man, he's feeling it. Man, he's really good.
He was a 9th round pick, and a lot of these guys that he took early.
Where's he from?
Seattle University. And a lot of these guys that they've taken high in the first round have not been nearly as good as
this kid's really good.
Oh, just his command of everything, too. I mean, it just seems like you can't commit to anything either.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get on his fastball, for one. And then, obviously, we had a couple interesting situations where if, something happens with the wind blowing the way it was, we could have, made it close early. But credit to them. They played great defense today, and they got timely hits. And, that kid on the mound was really good.
How do you assess Bryce Wilson today?
I think for inning 2, 3, 4, he was great. Had his cutter and his sinker, but the first inning and the other inning, you can't walk. If you're Bryce, you can't walk people. That's not his ticket to being an effective starter. So the walks hurt him, and he doesn't have like overpowering stuff. So free bases ended up getting him a little bit. Not the hit by pitch. I guess he had walks in the 5th inning, right? And he walked a couple.
We talked about his changeup. Did he throw any?
I think he threw a couple.
The one, the green double.
That was the double. The green had a changeup in the second, in the first.
First.
On either of those green doubles, looked like they kind of got up in the wind. Did you think any of those had a chance of like the play being made, or
Yeah, I thought so. I think the wind played a lot in today, and the one just kept fading away from Perk, and it was Perk's ball. Yelly thought he called it early, and then it just started drifting, and Yelly turned on what he could, and then it was too late. So and then the other one, yeah.
Jackson probably had the best swing off of Scooble.
He did.
Got robbed.
Yep. And we had we had 2 home runs robbed today. One of them was after it was out of reach, but it still was, it is what it is. But, credit to the Tigers. They did the job, and the kid pitched great. The kid behind the plate does a sneaky good job, too. And, yeah.
That at-bat for Jackson that Soph was just talking about, you said yesterday that you've seen just a better approach from him, not as aggressive as he was earlier, making better swing decisions. They had off a couple tough fastballs that were just off the plate in that at-bat before he put that swing on that. Is that just another example?
Well, I thought that at-bat he did. I thought in a couple other at-bats he just was up there swinging. And so that's what you get, I think, with a 20-year-old. You're going to, in the big leagues, against stuff like that, I think you're going to get a little of that. His last couple at-bats here, like his first pitch swing off the end, his other at-bats were swinging the first 2 pitches and get himself out, so with every good, then there's a couple you look at and you go, eh. But overall, he's way more confident, and hopefully that continues.
And then you said Monasterio deserved, to get in the lineup and hit a couple line drives, one of the home runs that got robbed, and then got an RBI double.
Yeah, Mona's a great bench player for us. He understands his first day he's ever played first base. That was a great thing, and give Reese off his feet. We gave Contreras a day off, and Mona filled in big, and he always, you give him 4 at-bats, he's going to do some things. He's going to conduct a professional at-bat. For a young player, and he's very young, in the big leagues, he does a really nice job.
Really, really nice job from Churio. Really, really nice job from the Brewers. Just the whole road trip aside from today, right? I know they got swept by Philly, and I know they lost today. But 5 out of 6 games, they played quality games. So there's nothing to overreact with there. We'll wrap up the program after this on 620 WTMJ.
Coming up, more Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
In Wisconsin, bicycles are legal and intended users of the road. We remind drivers to share the road and make sure to slow down and give at least 3 feet when passing a person biking. Let's make sure everyone, no matter their mode of travel, gets home safely. Learn more at wisconsinbikefed.org.
Vince Vitrano here for Johnson & Sons Paving. The front door to your small business? It's not the door. It's the parking lot. And if it's all banged up and potholed, that is not the first impression you want to give to your valued customers. Fix it up or rebuild the whole thing with Johnson & Sons Paving. They do everything in-house. They help you design your project, and they even mix their own asphalt. Plenty of Johnsons over there, but no subcontractors. You get Johnson & Sons Paving every step of the way. One-stop shop for projects of any size. JohnsonandSonsPaving.com.
Here's to sweet summer days together with friends and family in Wisconsin. To discovering magic in every moment.
Come on, over here.
And to reconnecting through a world filled with wonder.
Wow.
Here's to supper club celebrations and dancing until the sun goes down. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Plan your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
Your home suffer damage from a storm or severe weather? Don't stress any longer. Loyal Family Renovations treats all of its customers like they've joined their personal family, and every project as if the work was being done at their own house. Loyal Family Renovations has a leg up on the competition due to the personal relationships they've built with insurance adjusters over the years. Loyal Family is family-owned, and the loyalty belongs to their customers. Contact them today to get your free home inspection. LoyalFamilyRenovations.com.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here for Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. Their mission is to transform the culture of care. We're all living longer. That means in all of our families, people are facing Alzheimer's, dementia, and other memory-related issues. Azura specializes in caring for those with early to late stage Alzheimer's or other related dementia symptoms. They're Wisconsin-based, 14 in our state, 4 in our area. I've been in their buildings. They're fantastic. It's Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, empathy and compassion at the core. It's Azura.
Thinking of popping the question? Diamonds Direct has an offer you can't miss. This month only, buy a natural diamond engagement ring of 1 carat plus and receive a free natural 1 carat diamond tennis bracelet valued at $2,000. Imagine giving her the ring of her dreams and her wedding gift all at once. No one provides education, selection, and value like Diamonds Direct. Your chance to get a free tennis bracelet from your friends at Diamonds Direct won't last long. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik here to tell you about my friends over at the Hounds and Tap in Menominee Falls. It's a state-of-the-art facility and the ultimate hangout for hounds and humans. Grab a drink at the tavern, meet others while your pup enjoys the dog park. That's a mud-free dog park, by the way. Fun, happy, clean, and a great environment for everyone. The Hounds and Tap also provides doggy daycare, boarding, and professional grooming services. We take our greyhound there regularly. Learn more about their services. Check out thehoundsandtap.com. That's thehoundsandtap.com.
All right, last couple minutes of the program here. Brewers fall 10-2. I'm Dominic Cotroneo. Here's your upcoming broadcast schedule here for the Brewers. Tomorrow, we're on the air at 6:35, 6 o'clock for Brewers warm-up, and then 6:35 for the network coverage for a 7:10 first pitch against the Toronto Blue Jays. Same thing on Tuesday. Wednesday, day game, it'll be a 1:10 first pitch, though. I know we've had some noon, so 12:35 airtime on Wednesday. No Brewers extra innings after that one. Thursday's an off day, but I've got you for Brewers Weekly that night. And then Friday, the Reds come to town, 7:10 first pitch, 6 o'clock coverage, 6:35 is the network airtime. I'll be with you tomorrow for Brewers extra innings. It'll be Tony Cartagena on Tuesday filling in for me against the Blue Jays, and then no show, of course, on Wednesday. And then next week when the Reds come to town, Friday is a 7:10 game, Saturday is a 3:10 game, and Sunday is a 1:10 game. The Brewers, they're still in first place. We don't overreact to standings in June because a lot can happen between now and then. But I tweeted this earlier today, and it just makes me laugh that even though we all sit here and look at the rest of the division being under 500, it just takes one hot week, and all of a sudden, it's a whole new confidence, and maybe false confidence, because last year when Mike Tauchman robbed a home run on what would have been a walk-off homer from Alec Burleson against the Cardinals for the Cubs, robbed a walk-off homer, would have put them, only, if they had lost, it would have put them 6 games out of a playoff spot. But they decided, you know what, let's add at the deadline and let's go for it. And they got all the way to within a game of the Brewers after winning that series in August. But then, of course, we knew what happened the rest of the way. They collapsed in September. They fired their manager, and we all know the rest for there. But just remember, there's so much season left to be figured out here, as we're only on June 9th, back at home tomorrow for Toronto. That's going to do it for me here today. Thank you for tuning in, flying solo. Augie will be back with us soon this week, as well as Craig Sean. My thanks to our producer, Evan Wittallison. Once again, the final, Brewers fall 10-2. Until next time, keep on swinging.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max.